making the India pitch. CNBC TV 18 Shireen Bhan caught up with the who's who of India Inc. Let's cut across.
Two ladies on this panel as well today. Thanks very much for joining us. Nainalal Kidwai, let me start by asking you, a bunch of investor conferences being held through the day today. What were the top questions that investors are asking of the finance minister about the India story?
So the good news is that the refrain on tax is far more subdued. It's still a question, but is asked more in terms of reassurance. But I think there's a buy-in there. Interestingly, new questions that arose. One was around bureaucratic transfers. I haven't heard that one before.
So asking why bureaucrats are being transferred?
And how that impacts going forward, and maybe even concerns that continuity would be an issue. Questions around credit, given the state of the banks. Was there enough credit in the system to help growth going forward? And otherwise, I would say pretty positive on the environment. The nature of questions were really quite tactical. For example, on gifts and what is...
You mean the gift city and what the government is actually doing?
So these are the sort of questions which, to my mind, are far more interesting, and the whole refrain has changed, where in the past it was much more about criticism. Now it's much more questions about the future, new progress, new plans.
Mr. Neotia, let me ask you, was there a sense of confidence that you got from investors about wanting to invest in India, whether new investment or incremental investment? Did you get a sense that at the end of the meeting, they went away feeling more reassured?
I think so. I think generally the sense, the mood that I could gather is that they are looking at India much more seriously. They were looking for reassurances, Naina said, from the finance minister on various issues.
How often did the GST issue come up, in the fact that perhaps, and were investors asking questions of the government? Did the government do enough to try and reach out to the opposition to try and push the GST through? Was that an issue that was raised?
Yes, that was an issue. I think the investors were trying to assess how they are reaching out to the opposition and trying to resolve some of these contentious issues. I think the finance minister handled that fairly well. He said about a lot of things that can be done with administrative action, a lot of things that can be done passed through the lower house. There would be only some things that get stuck up in the upper house, and that too, he feels that some of that will get negotiated and sorted out soon. So I think there was a kind of a positive feeling at the end of it.
Did he give any indication that a mid-year GST rollout is possible, viable, feasible?
Yeah, he did say that just in case, in the outside, if he does miss the first April target, it can actually happen even a few months later, because it doesn't really have to wait for another whole financial year. So I think there seems to be a feeling, at least with the government, that they will be able to get the opposition on board and push this through.
Okay. I understand that some of the other issues that were brought up by investors had to do with the cost of capital, manufacturing and so on and so forth. Were there any assurances given by the finance minister on any of these specific areas, Ms. Suri?
No, I mean, he didn't specify or give any assurances as such in terms of figures, but his whole approach was very reassuring, where he did answer almost every question. Manufacturing, he understands, needs to get that push. He also understood that the cost of capital is high. However, there wasn't too many questions on that. He did give a lot of reassurances, and I think
on the ease of doing business, was there a lot of questions being asked on that particular issue?
There were some questions asked on the ease of doing business, to which he did respond, and he said that a lot of the states are now taking it upon themselves. As a matter of fact, there has been a study done recently where the states have come up, and some of them are quite surprising, because some of these states are tribal states, and still those states are ranking high in the ease of doing business. So I think that was also tackled quite well and accepted well.
Okay. Rajan Mittal, on the issue of foreign direct investment, and I understand that this was an issue that was brought up when the Prime Minister met with industry as well. You know, even though the FDI limit has actually been hiked to 49%, we haven't seen any fresh investment coming in, and even existing joint venture partners like yours are still awaiting approvals. How big a concern is the control regulation, and is that now an impediment as far as FDI or hiking FDI by even existing JV partners are concerned?
You know, to be honest, all we want, and this was raised earlier also, was raised with the finance minister also, is clarity of rules. I mean, nobody's waiting.
He told me that clarification is on the anvil. Was that the sense you got?
I think so too. I think so too. And we are hoping that within this month we should get that. And whatever the clarification at the end of the day, our partners are quite okay to go along with that, as long as there is...
What are you hoping for?
Well, we are hoping there is a definition. Actually, there's a definition of control. If you really see under the press note, there is a definition of control which says Indian board, Indian CEO, Indian majority 51%. There should be no different than the control that has been already defined. That's our thought. Until as the insurance regulators come around with a new definition, we'll have to wait to see. But I am quite certain that government is seized of this, that they need to, kickstart this investment.
What, to your mind, was the high point as far as these investor meetings were concerned? Because, yes, India stands out in the emerging market basket at this point in time because of the strength of its macroeconomic fundamentals. But let's not believe that India is the only gig in town. But what, to your mind, was the highlight from the conversations that you heard?
I think what we all have heard and the kind of conversation that we are seeing, and biggest, if I have the take home, is the credibility of the government is back. And I think that is the biggest take that I could sense from the investors. Their credibility is there, the government is serious.
So foreign investors feel the government is credible, but domestic investors seem to be waning when it comes to credibility of the government, especially to push through difficult reforms.
No, I don't think so. That's correct. Even for the domestic guy, there's a credibility. Because we understand the nuances of the domestic politics, which probably the investors don't. That's why it is taking more out of us to engage both sides. It's got nothing to do with the credibility of the government. That is absolutely considered that is there. It's just that they are not able to break some deadlocks, which will happen over a period of time.
Harshpati Singhania, and let me put this question to all three of you, Siddharth Birla and Mr. Modi as well. One of the questions that has been talked about at these conferences has been the centralization of power, whether that is now working as a double-edged sword. Too much at the Prime Minister's office, is that slowing things down? Is that now proving to be an impediment? Were these questions asked of the Finance Minister? What was his response?
Well, when this question comes, I think the Finance Minister is quite clear. And the response is basically to say that the monitoring from the Minister's office, so the Prime Minister himself being highly energetic and being pushy, if you may use that word, about getting results. So there is a positive to it. The positive really is that there is greater accountability, there's a greater focus on results, on action happening. Otherwise, you could have announcements and pronouncements and then, sort of review it after 1 year or review it after...
But is it also leading to delays? Because that's a worry and that's a concern that I understand investors have expressed.
I think what I see from the Indian standpoint is that they are considerably strengthening the Prime Minister's office as well. So therefore, it's not a matter of delays on that side. And I have a personal opinion also which is slightly different, different means supporting that. The view is that when you see a situation and if it has become sort of loose and scattered, you first, like in a business, you first need to consolidate and bring things back together. And then once it gets the momentum, then you can start to delegate.
Okay. Mr. Modi, let me ask you this. In terms of specific sectoral issues that were addressed, for instance, the safeguard duty imposition was raised as a cause of concern. Is India turning more protectionist? There were also concerns raised about the state of the electricity boards or DISCOMs. What kind of reassurances, if any, were given on addressing the needs as far as the DISCOMs are concerned? Can we expect another bailout package, for instance, another restructuring package, for instance?
I think regarding the DISCOMs, it was very clear that they are engaging with the 8 states, which you said there are 8 states, so 4 are very bad, 4 are bad. And they will work out a structure where the consumer pays for what he buys. And so the DISCOMs can be strengthened and then only the package would be given. That's the impression I got, and which is I think the right way to go according to me. What was the second?
On steel, for instance, or NPAs and the banking sector, those were some of the other concerns that people raised.
For the steel, there was a question raised. I think he very rightly, according to me, answered. It's the safeguard duty. There is a separate body. It's for 200 days. They will make investigations, and if they find somebody is dumping, this duty will remain. If they find somebody is not dumping, this duty will go away. And I think that India has to be an open society. But we cannot see that our industry, especially manufacturing, is hurt. as it is, there are challenges in India which are related to mostly states, ease of doing business in the states. And on top of that, if we allow dumping, then instead of increasing from 15 to 25%, we will go from 15 to 10.
Okay.
So I think the message was clear by the Prime Minister.
Okay. Siddharth Birla, and I'll put the tough question to you, because black money, of course, or the black money law was the issue that came up, and the finance minister did say that there is now a 12-day window left as far as that compliance window before people can actually disclose their undisclosed assets. Otherwise, to quote him, they will face sleepless nights. How significant of an issue is this for India Inc? And I have anecdotal numbers. I don't actually have hard data, but what I am given to understand is that every hour we're actually seeing people apply for residency, whether it's in Dubai or any other jurisdiction.
Well, I think the particular comment that you're referring to was made partly in jest, that, you know, you have 12 days more. But I think what
you do have 12 days more. 30th of September is the window.
That's just arithmetic, you know, so that's what he was repeating. But I think he was trying to make also a larger point as to how how they are trying to move India away from a mostly cash society, etc., and how we are trying to bring hygiene into the system. Now, cleaning up black money is only one part of the hygiene, and he broke that up into two parts. If you have something outside, I think it belongs in the country. And number two is that an outflow in future also must stop. That is going to strengthen the country. So I think he was talking in larger terms about the overall hygiene that they are trying to bring in. And, well, people taking residency, I mean, this is always, you know, if they're taking residency to actually expand their business and, you know, go about doing their business legally, I think it's perfectly acceptable. And I think I have said this on TV earlier. If somebody is changing his residency just to escape the laws, I think the signals from India is that that will not be allowed to happen. And according to me, your change of residency shouldn't stop you from being accountable.
It shouldn't, but clearly that is something that we're seeing happen. But, you know, I want to go back to the meeting that the Prime Minister also had with India Inc. And once again, there was a nudge, and a very conscious nudge, to get India Inc. to start investing. The message really was that don't be fair weather friends. Public expenditure is all right. We're going to try and do what we can, but you need to get your act together as well. This has been the refrain now for the past 1 year. We had this conversation in the US, and clearly not much has changed on the ground. And the threat or the carrot and stick approach is being wielded once again. Are we likely to see any pickup as far as the capex cycle is concerned?
Well, I think so. There is no doubt the capex cycle has to pick up. And there's no reason when the foreign investors are coming in to invest in India, they do look at the Indian investors and the Indian industry to also kind of co-invest. So I think with now defense opening up, as you rightly said, insurance, and a lot of infrastructure opening up by the government spending would also force the private sector to come in. There's no doubt in our mind. So really the issue is not that it's going to happen. The issue is when it's going to kickstart.
When is it going to kickstart? Mr. Modi, I understand that you're putting in or investing money in the state of West Bengal at this point in time, one of the few companies that's actually investing in West Bengal. When do you really see a full-fledged pickup as far as capex is concerned?
You know, my investing is because all private business wants to sell. If I can sell, I invest. If I can't sell, I don't invest, whether government tells me or doesn't tell me. So I can sell because I'm in gas business, which is in shortage, so I will invest. But I can see that the consumers who buy my gas are still suffering.
CNBC TV 18, celebrating 15 years of leadership.